He just keeps doing the same thing over and over again, and he knows it frustrates me, and I don't know what I can do about it. Timmy? Timmy, are you throwing stuff at me? You're not? Okay, all right. I'm gonna get you! Who's throwing stuff at me? Who threw that at me? Have you ever felt that way? Like, you have no control over someone else's behavior and they keep doing the same thing. And it's not good for them, it's not good for you, it's not good for anybody, but they keep doing it. And yeah, you don't have control over someone else's behavior. So then what? How do you keep yourself in the right place mentally, spiritually, emotionally? And how do you not let it trigger you or cause you anxiety? I can't believe you're always doing things like that! You got him yelling too, and you're doing something. He's just copying you, and he's gonna do everything you do, and you gotta be a good example. You can't just lose it! Well, it's not easy, and it's a conscious effort, and it really is a choice. And I say that, and it doesn't mean I'm always perfect. It's easy to sometimes let circumstances or something somebody does drive you to a place where you have no peace, where you feel like stressed out. I have a friend who his mother is constantly nagging him, guilting him, doing like just constant, like it's not good for him. He's actually multiple times had angina attacks, which are like mini heart attacks when he spends time with her. And so what do you do in situations like that? Sometimes you have to spend time with your mother. Sometimes you are married to this person and they might be not paying the bills, and you're stressing out because they're supposed to be paying the bills, and instead they're buying stuff on Amazon, and you don't have money for groceries, and yet there's another package coming in the door. And it's easy to explode and to blow up and to yell at that person. What is that?
What's that?
Is that another box from Amazon?
Yeah.
What are you ordering? We've got bills to pay. We're already behind on our property tax. I can't believe you're ordering more stuff you don't need. What? You have anything to say about it? Go, just get out of here. I'm so sick of this. But you notice when you do that, it doesn't really do any good. They may initially say, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. You're right. That was a bad idea. And they may shape up for a little bit, but eventually, a lot of times they go back to their own behavior because what they were doing was something that was just to please you temporarily, to get you not to yell at them. But it doesn't mean they've changed on the inside. So how do you deal with a person that you maybe have to be around? Maybe your son is hooked on drugs. And as a parent, you are in deep fear, anxiety, and worry because when he goes out at night, you don't know if the phone call you get is going to be from the mortuary or from the police department or if he's going to OD. How can you be at peace when something what if your dad loses his patience and he hits you, or who knows what is happening, but there's other people around you that you have to be around and you can't do anything about. Now, each different scenario obviously is going to have a different tactic and a different answer, and I would need to know each person's individual story. to, be able to advise you properly. But in the grand scheme of things, in the overall picture, we know that we can't change other people's behavior. We can have a hard time even changing ourselves and our behavior, and that's the only one we are really responsible for. So we can't take on the guilt, the burdens of the stuff that other people are foisting on us. We have to be at peace and be settled no matter what people are doing around us, and we can't let what other people are doing rob us, to steal our joy, to make us not feel good, to make us be on edge and have anxiety and panic attacks. So you have to start to learn, what is the behavior I need to avoid? What if another package comes in the door and we don't have any food in our fridge, but they just ordered another pair of sunglasses that they didn't need? What did you order? More sunglasses? Do you really think you needed more sunglasses? You know what? Forget it. What? How do you handle that? You have to decide ahead of time, in advance, that no matter what somebody does, you're going to forgive them. You're going to not lash out at them. You're going to try to treat them the way Jesus would. The way God would want them treated. They haven't found their place yet. They haven't found their way. Something is making them want to have this impulsive behavior. And there's nothing that you can do about it except being worried, freaked out, stressed out, having many heart attacks, and developing ulcers is not good for you. So you're allowing something somebody else does to ruin your health and your peace of mind and your emotions. And that can't go on any longer. We can't let what other people do destroy us. So if we have no control over it, and we can do our best to avoid being in the wake of it, if we know when my dad drinks, he gets belligerent. I know when I hear the door slam and he's walking in, I'm going in my room, I'm locking the door, and I'm not coming out until morning. Or when another package comes to the house that my spouse should not have ordered, I'm not going to lose my temper. I'm not going to say anything. It's a choice that we have. And it's not that you're letting them get away with stuff. It's they're going to do it anyway. You've already tried the other way. You've already tried yelling at them. You've already tried chewing them out. You've already tried nagging them to death, and it hasn't helped. They haven't changed. So if they're not going to change, and this is going to be their behavior, and it's what is, until it's not their behavior anymore, until they decide to make a change, then you have to decide for yourself. Am I going to let it ruin my health, my emotions? Or am I going to say, God, help me, like the serenity prayer. Help me to, change the things that I can change and accept the things I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because if you have the wisdom to know the difference between what you can change and what you can't change, then you're not getting worked up, freaked out, panic attacks, anxiety, stress, worry, physical ailments over something you can't do anything about. But what you can do, after you've talked to them, and it hasn't worked, you can pray. And you know what? Sometimes that prayer is going to be answered in ways that aren't the way you want them to be answered. So there's certain things in my life that I've prayed about, and it hasn't been answered the way I want it answered. Okay, so you may go, I prayed for him to stop and he's not stopping. Well, in those situations, the prayer might be more that, because you are responsible for you. The prayer might have to do with, God, please help me in my reaction to this. Please help me to have the kind of response that you would want me to have in this situation. God, I don't want to have panic. I don't want to have fear. I don't want to have anxiety. I just want to be in this situation the way you would want me to be. You know I'm not happy with this, God. You know I want him or her to change. But this is the way it is now. And I have to accept it. And I have to have the wisdom to know I can't change anybody but me. I can only change my reaction to what they're doing. Yes, it's harmful. Yes, it's hurtful. Yes, it's not helping anybody. But if I can't do anything about it, why am I letting it destroy my days? Kids, let's watch a movie. Yeah, there's a scripture that says, if you can't even do the little things, why worry about the big things? And I just, scripture is full of verses telling us not to fear, not to worry, not to fret. And it's easy for us to go, yeah, but you don't know what I'm dealing with, God. And he was the perfect example. When he came to earth, he didn't fret about anything. He didn't worry about anything. You can't have fear and faith at the same time. So which are you going to choose? Are you going to have fear that it's always going to be this way and it's never going to get better? Or are you going to have faith that, you know what, this person is going to get better. I'm praying for them. And even if they don't get better, even if they don't change in the way I want them to change, I'm going to change my reaction to it. I'm going to just let it roll off my shoulders and say, you know what? That's them. That's has nothing to do with me. They're doing this on their own. I'm not telling them to buy a new pair of sunglasses instead of get groceries. I'm not telling them to, get drunk and get belligerent and scream at me and hit me. And, some stuff you have to know. When do I seek professional help? When do I seek safety? And when do I just take a situation and say, I'm going to put my son in rehab and I'm going to keep him there. I'm not going to feel bad that he's, in that place and take him home. And then every time I take him home, he goes back to the friends and the drugs. So knowing, get professional help, seek advice. But most importantly, no matter what is happening, control your mind, control your emotions, and just say, God, give me the peace that surpasses all understanding. You know that scripture? God will give you the peace that surpasses all understanding to guard your heart and guard your mind. So that's what we have to do. We have to have that peace. And the reason it surpasses all understanding is because we can be going through something and we can have peace even in the worst of times. Like when there was the storm going on in the boat and Jesus was sleeping and all his disciples are like, don't you care that we're about to die? The storm is going to come and overtake us and you're sleeping. And he just gets up and he's like, storm, quiet down, and the storm stops. Well, we have to be like that in our life. We have to just be like, you know what? Storm, quiet down, because the storm is in our mind. The storm is in our emotions. The storm is it's causing us to freak out and act in a way that is not beneficial to any of us. So keep that peace. Keep that peace that surpasses all understanding, so that when these crazy trials are happening, it's not just the people that are around us that are in bad shape. We can be in good shape and we can allow it not to move us mentally, emotionally. So there was a time where my son was in the neonatal intensive care unit and it wasn't looking good. And I don't even remember this situation until I interviewed a friend of mine later who's a pastor's wife, and she had come to the neonatal intensive care unit to pray for Timothy. And she said the doctor came up to me and he gave me this very bad prognosis, just a list of all these bad things that were happening with Timothy and his lungs and his ability to be able to make it through and survive. And she tells me this later. She said, you just took in the information and you just said, okay, all right. And she said she was amazed at how I didn't freak out. I didn't, get upset. I had the faith that, even though he basically said, my son's probably going to die. I was just floating in this area of faith. And I want you guys to be able to float in faith. That no matter what is going on, you're not sinking to the bottom of the ocean. You're not going to drown. No matter what happens, no matter what somebody else does, that you keep floating. You keep floating on your faith boat, like a lifeboat. You keep floating on that faith boat and just trust God is going to lead you in the right direction. Hopefully God will change them, but if not, let him change you. Let him work through your heart and your mind and your emotions and your will and everything you've got going on to just be at peace and float through and say, you know what, I don't like that my son is doing drugs. I've talked to him about it. I've tried to get him help in therapy. All I can do is pray, and he's going to change when he wants to change. And my husband may keep ordering stuff on the internet, but I can't do anything about it. I've already talked to him, you know. And then you just decide to have peace, and you just decide to have joy. Even when the storm is going on around you, you've decided to have peace, and you've prayed for God to help you, and maybe he'll send somebody, maybe he'll send someone to them. I don't know what God will do in the situation, but regardless of what God does or doesn't do, you can choose joy and you can choose peace. Live true, love hard, and shine bright, and let God sort out the rest. We're not God. We can't change anybody. But we can change ourselves, and we can change our response to what everybody is doing. Okay, I hope that was helpful.